a country where considered bathing a sin, where women practiced walking marriages with as many partners as they wished, and the bride kidnapping tradition will leave you speechless. This is Mongolia, a land of frozen festivals, sacred mountains, and traditions so unbelievable they'll leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about culture and survival. Mongolia once ruled the largest empire in human history, stretching farther than even Russia does today. And at the center of this story is none other than Genghis Khan. Under his leadership, Mongol warriors expanded across continents with unmatched speed and strategy. But in those times, bathing was not just rare, it was forbidden. People believed that water disturbed the sacred balance of the earth and angered the gods. So warriors could go months, even years, without a proper wash. Clothes were worn until they literally fell apart, only shaken out to drop lice onto the ground. And the stronger the odor, the more blessed you were believed to be. If Genghis Khan gave you his sweat-soaked, lice-infested clothes, you would wear them with pride. It wasn't just clothing, it was a symbol of divine favor. Could you go without a bath for a day, or even months, like the ancient Mongols did? Comment yes or no. Today, Mongolia has left most of these customs behind, but in some remote areas, echoes of this tradition can still be found. And leaving behind Mongolia's ancient warrior past, we now arrive at its bustling capital, Ulaanbaatar. It is the largest capital city in the world in terms of surface area. Yet despite its size, it has one of the lowest population densities on Earth, with barely 2 people per square kilometer. Therefore, 99.7% of the land area here is uninhabited, which means the probability of encountering other people is very low. Winters in Ulaanbaatar can plunge to -30 degrees Celsius, or about -22 degrees Fahrenheit. But at the same time, Mongolia is called the land of the blue sky, blessed with more than 260 days of sunshine each year. That means you could experience bone-freezing temperatures under a crystal-clear, brilliant sky. So what's life as a nomad in Mongolia really like? You'll be surprised by what we're about to reveal. But first, don't forget to support us by liking the video, subscribing to our channel, and turning on notifications. Imagine waking up each morning inside a round felt tent called a gyre, or yurt. The first thing you notice is the crisp mountain air drifting in as sunlight filters through the roof opening. Families gather around a small wood-burning stove to prepare breakfast, usually simple dairy products from their herds. But this is no ordinary lifestyle. For centuries, Mongolians have lived on the move, following the seasons in search of fresh pastures for their animals. Everything they own can be packed onto camels or horses and moved within hours. One of the most astonishing is what's known as the walking marriage, preserved among the Moshuo people of Mongolian origin. After a young woman comes of age, she is free to choose her lovers, sometimes many over her lifetime. But here's the twist. These couples never live together. Children are raised within the mother's household, with brothers and uncles stepping in as father figures. Why such a custom? In a world where men often face dangerous journeys while hunting or exploring new lands, it was not uncommon for them to disappear or perish. Walking marriages gave women control, ensuring the survival of families even when men could not return. To this day, the Moshuo are sometimes called the Kingdom of Women, a society where mothers hold extraordinary power. What do you think about the Moshuo's walking marriage tradition? Comment number 3 below if you want to experience life in the Kingdom of Women. From powerful empires to walking marriages, Mongolia's history is full of surprising traditions. And you won't believe your eyes with the next tradition. For centuries, it was considered acceptable for a man to simply take the woman he wished to marry. He would seize her, sometimes with the help of friends or family, and bring her to his home. Once there, the marriage ceremony would be performed, often against the woman's will. This ritual may sound unthinkable today, but in the past it was woven deeply into Mongolian warrior culture. Strength and dominance were admired traits, and abducting a bride was seen as proof of a man's determination. Today, the practice is illegal in Mongolia, and in modern cities it has largely disappeared. If bride kidnapping showed us the darker echoes of the past, then eagle hunting reveals the majestic side of Mongolia's traditions. In the remote Altai Mountains, Hunters train golden eagles, massive birds with wingspans stretching over 2 meters, to catch foxes, hares, and even wolves. This practice goes back thousands of years, passed from father to son, and it is considered one of the highest honors in Mongolian culture. The hunters treat their birds almost like family, feeding them carefully, protecting them, and even releasing them back into the wild after years of partnership. Every hunt becomes a dance between humans and birds. And if that weren't unique enough, Mongolia also celebrates its warrior spirit every summer in the Naadam festival. This isn't your average fair, it's a competition rooted in the three manly sports: wrestling, archery, and horse racing. But don't be fooled by the name. Women now compete too, and children as young as 5 ride in races that stretch for kilometers across the open steppe. The atmosphere is a dazzling mix of color, music, and tradition, a living echo of Mongolia's nomadic heritage. And right after those vibrant festivals, you'll step into a ritual where even the tiniest mistake could accidentally offend the entire host family. When offered a cup, a man must kneel on both knees, bow his head, and extend both hands with deep respect. An unmarried girl follows the same ritual, but once married, a woman kneels on only one knee while raising her right hand. And for a newlywed bride, there's yet another layer: she must add a chant blessing the moment with her voice. Mongolians believe that if you sip half-heartedly, you are cursing their livestock and disrespecting their home. To avoid this, hosts will refill your cup again and again until they're convinced you've shown enough enthusiasm. For many visitors, this has led to drinking far beyond their limits, sometimes with serious consequences. Yet refusing outright would mean offending the entire family. The drinking customs also extend to the new year, when the first cup of tea is poured outside, sprinkled to the 4 directions as an offering to the spirits. Instead of using water, some families wash their dishes with horse milk to purify the home for the year ahead. That's the drinking rule, so are you curious about what's served on the table? Mongolian cuisine will take you from one surprise to another. The traditional diet is simple but powerful, built around meat, dairy, and seasonal vegetables. In the winter markets of Ulaanbaatar, you'll find thick yak wool clothing alongside steaming bowls of soup and dumplings, all designed to keep people warm against the bitter cold. But beyond these staples lie dishes and drinks that are truly unlike anything else in the world. Take Mongolian ice cream, for example. It's said to have been invented when warriors mixed snow with mare's milk after a long desert battle, creating a refreshing treat that's still enjoyed today. And then there's something that leaves many outsiders speechless: sheep's eye juice. Yes, you heard that right. This traditional drink is made with tomato juice, vinegar, and sheep's eyes, believed to be a powerful cure for hangovers after a night of heavy celebration. To locals, it's not a dare, it's a trusted remedy that restores strength and energy. But sometimes, Mongolian hospitality extends even further than offering a meal or a drink. In fact, in some communities, the welcome for a guest could be far more intimate and far more surprising. In some of the coldest regions, where temperatures can drop to life-threatening lows, a host might offer his own daughter to sleep beside the guest, not as an invitation to intimacy, but as a way to keep them alive through the bitter night. To share warmth with another person is considered the ultimate act of trust and generosity. For the host, this gesture means you are not just a visitor, you are family. The daughter's presence symbolizes loyalty, respect, and protection. And to decline such an offer could be seen as an insult, a rejection of their deepest values of kinship. And if you think that's astonishing, wait until you see how entire communities gather on frozen lakes in the dead of winter, turning ice into the stage for one of Mongolia's most extraordinary celebrations. The most famous of these gatherings takes place on Lake Kovskol, a vast body of water that freezes several meters deep, creating a natural stadium of ice. Here, locals host skating races, tug-of-war matches on slippery surfaces, archery contests in the wind, and even horseback rides across the frozen lake. It's a spectacle of courage and resilience, proving that for Mongolians, even the coldest conditions can become a reason to celebrate. But the most unforgettable moments are the shamanic fire rituals performed directly on the ice. Massive bonfires burn against the backdrop of a frozen landscape, flames roaring while the temperature hovers well below freezing. Families gather around, chanting and offering prayers for strength and good fortune, creating an atmosphere that feels both mystical and otherworldly. And the irony is striking. These festivals are meant to welcome spring, even though spring here still means temperatures that would freeze most of us to the bone. For Mongolians, though, surviving another brutal winter is reason enough for joy. Yet while these ice festivals are breathtaking, Mongolia holds another paradox, a treasure worth trillions that has left many wondering why so many people here still live in poverty. This country sits on one of the world's largest reserves of gold, copper, and coal, resources valued in the trillions of dollars. By all logic, Mongolia should be one of the richest nations on Earth. Yet reality tells a very different story. Nearly 40% of the population lives below the poverty line. In Ulaanbaatar, luxury mansions and imported sports cars exist side by side with shanty towns where families live in makeshift yurts without electricity or running water. The wealth from massive mining operations often flows into the hands of foreign companies and a small elite, leaving ordinary Mongolians with little to show for the riches beneath their feet. The irony is painful. Many of those struggling today are former nomads who lost their ancestral grazing lands to mining projects. Unable to maintain their traditional way of life, they moved to the city outskirts, where harsh winters force them to huddle in poor housing, sometimes even in underground sewers to escape the deadly cold. But while Mongolia's economic wealth remains uneven, the nation protects something even more valuable to its spirit, sacred mountains that no amount of money can buy or mine. For Mongolians, the land is not just soil and stone, it is sacred. Among the most powerful symbols of this belief are the mountains, some of which are considered so holy that even approaching them without permission can be forbidden. These are not just geographic landmarks. They are living beings, guardians of weather, livestock, and destiny itself. Take Mount Burkhan Khaldun, for example, believed to be the birthplace of Genghis Khan. Legends say that spirits dwell within its peaks, watching over the nation. Pilgrims climb carefully marked routes to leave offerings of milk, silk, or stones, circling sacred cairns known as ovus while chanting prayers. The entire mountain range is off limits to mining, logging, or even loud noises. Breaking these taboos is believed to anger the spirits, bringing misfortune to families or entire communities. The reverence is so strong that modern Mongolian law protects many of these sites. In fact, satellite images of certain sacred areas are deliberately blurred to keep them hidden from outsiders. And this spiritual protection has unintentionally created havens for animals like snow leopards and gobi bears, where people cannot disturb the land, wildlife thrives. But beyond ecology, these mountains represent something deeper. They remind Mongolians of their roots, of traditions older than any empire. They stand as natural temples where ceremonies have been performed for over 1,000 years, connecting the present to the ancestors who once roamed the same valleys and ridges. And even though many of these peaks sit atop untapped mineral deposits worth billions, Mongolia has chosen to leave them untouched. For Mongolians, the mountains are priceless. Yet, beyond the stillness of the mountains and forests, the Mongols created a messaging system so fast that before the enemy could even strike, the news had already traveled thousands of miles. Imagine trying to deliver a simple letter across a country where 99% of the land is empty steppe, mountains, or desert, and where most of the population is constantly moving with their herds. That's Mongolia. And yet, for centuries, this challenge has been overcome by one of the most extraordinary postal systems in the world. It all began with Genghis Khan, who established the Yam, a network of relay stations that connected his empire from Europe to Asia. Messengers would ride at full speed, switching horses at each station so that news could travel faster than ever before. Amazingly, echoes of this system still exist today. To reach nomadic families scattered across Mongolia's vast wilderness, postal workers rely not on trucks or drones, but on horses. More than 50,000 are used across 1,400 relay points, making the system look more like something from a medieval army than a modern state. Riders can cover up to 200 kilometers in a single day, battling sandstorms in the desert or blizzards in the mountains. The skill required is immense. A postal rider must know the seasonal migration patterns of families, predicting where a yurt might be pitched weeks or even months ahead. Without landmarks, they rely on memory, instinct, and the stamina of their horses. And when winter strikes with temperatures dropping to -50, the mail still has to get through, sometimes carrying not just letters but medicine, government documents, and life-saving supplies. What's remarkable is that, despite new technology, This system has hardly changed in 800 years. Today, postmen may carry a GPS device or a satellite phone, but they still depend on the same endurance and horsemanship that Mongol riders used under Genghis Khan. It is a living tradition, one that ties modern Mongolia to its imperial past in a way few countries can claim. Far from the green steppes and snow-capped mountains, the Gobi Desert hides one of the greatest natural museums in the world. Beneath its windswept dunes and rocky plains lies a treasure not of gold or silver, but of bones, fossils from an age when dinosaurs roamed Mongolia in vast numbers. This region is so rich in prehistoric remains that paleontologists call it the Dinosaur Graveyard. In the early 20th century, explorers made jaw-dropping discoveries here. They found not just skeletons, but dinosaur eggs, entire nests perfectly preserved in the sand. Some even contained embryos, frozen in time for more than 70 million years. One of the most iconic finds is a fossil of two dinosaurs, a velociraptor and a protoceratops, locked in combat. Buried mid-battle by a sudden sandstorm, they were preserved in extraordinary detail, offering a glimpse into a dramatic moment that happened millions of years ago. What makes the Gobi so unique is its preservation. The dry climate and alkaline soil allow delicate details like feathers to survive, reshaping our understanding of these creatures. In fact, many discoveries here confirm that some dinosaurs were feathered, bridging the gap between reptiles and modern birds. New species are still unearthed every year, making Mongolia one of the most exciting frontiers in paleontology. In the vast Gobi Desert, where survival depends on the bond between humans and animals, one of Mongolia's most moving traditions takes place at dusk. It is called the camel crying ritual, and it is unlike anything you will see anywhere else in the world. Sometimes, after giving birth, a mother camel rejects her newborn calf. But Mongolian herders have developed a remarkable way to reunite mother and calf, not through force, but through music and song. The ritual begins by tying the calf near its mother, while a musician takes up the morin kur, the traditional horsehead fiddle. Its deep, haunting tones echo across the sands, imitating the rhythms of nature itself. At the same time, another herder gently strokes the camel's neck while singing words that plead with the mother to accept her baby. These songs are centuries old, passed down through generations, and often include phrases like, "Why do you turn away from your little one? Let it drink from your milk, for it is your gift of life." As the music rises and the voices carry across the desert wind, the camel often begins to soften. Witnesses describe tears forming in her eyes as she slowly leans toward her calf. In many cases, the mother finally relents, allowing the baby to nurse, saving its life in the most tender of reconciliations. The ritual is more than practical, it is symbolic. It shows the deep harmony Mongolians seek with the animals that sustain them. This bond is so profound that the tradition has gained international attention, even becoming the subject of an award-winning documentary, The Story of the Weeping Camel. UNESCO has since recognized the practice as part of Mongolia's intangible cultural heritage, a treasure that must be protected. And if camels can be moved to tears, you may wonder, how far does Mongolian hospitality go when it comes to human guests? In Mongolia, the idea of hospitality is not just a courtesy, it is a sacred duty. To refuse a guest is unthinkable, for in a land of brutal winters and endless steppes, survival has always depended on generosity. Visitors are not treated as strangers, but as blessings who bring fortune into the household. When you step into a gier, the traditional felt home, you are welcomed with offerings that cannot be declined. The first drink you are handed is usually erag, fermented mare's milk, its sharp and sour taste often shocking to outsiders. Declining the cup is considered an insult, suggesting you do not trust the family's cleanliness or skill. The same goes for the endless plates of cheese curds, mutton, and other dairy products, which can be heavy for those unaccustomed to them, but are offered as a symbol of respect. For male guests, one of the highest honors is being presented with the head of a sheep. Every part is meant to be shared, including the eyes and brain. To refuse this offering is to reject not only the meal but the bond of friendship and loyalty it represents. This uncompromising generosity can feel overwhelming, but it comes from a history where every guest was precious. Even today, amid the modern buildings of Ulaanbaatar or in the remotest desert camp, this spirit endures. A Mongolian host will give their best food, their warmest clothes, and even their bed to ensure a guest's comfort. To them, this is not sacrifice, it is honor. We've journeyed across Mongolia, from the sweat-stained armor of Genghis Khan's warriors to the vast capital of Ulaanbaatar, and from nomadic yurts and walking marriages to the chilling tradition of bride kidnapping. We've seen golden eagles soaring with hunters and families gathering for Nadam to honor their warrior past. We've witnessed drinking rituals that can test your limits, tasted sheep's eye juice meant to cure hangovers, and even stepped into a home where hospitality might mean offering warmth in the most unexpected ways. What do you think is the most surprising daily reality for Mongolian families today? Share your thoughts below. We always look forward to hearing more from you. And don't forget to hit subscribe, turn on notifications bell so we can see you again in our next video. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. I hope you enjoyed it. Your support truly means the world. Wishing you the best of luck. We are so glad you are with us today. Please leave a comment, like the video to support us, and subscribe for more videos. See you soon.